It seems like it's been a couple months since I've been able to join you guys on these calls. So I look forward to our discussion today. We've got an agenda. Wanting to start out talking a little bit about work plans, just kind of that season again as we're getting ready to look into this next year's planning process. We got several new things that are coming out this next week. Tommy's going to be presenting some of that new functionality we'll have across the platform. Cherie has some items that we're wanting to touch base with again, is just our documentation, being thorough with that. And so she'll be highlighting a few of those items with us. Randall right now is actually over in the striping meeting right now talking about some information of striping, but he'll join us in just a few minutes. And he's going to be talking about some of our updates that we are making on our incident map. Incident reporting. So there's a few questions we've changed when there is an incident and there's been some TMA hits or some backing incidents. We just want to highlight that. Then Evan Adrian is going to join us here. We're going to pass this off to him about 8:30. He's going to go through some of the updates, the new safety scores that will be occurring here again next week. And then I'm going to finish out with a demo on our brand new ladder license leave module, particularly the leave one. And so in your invite, we did put with the agenda there, we put a link to a video there that we created last week. So that's where we're going to go. Of course, at the end of the day, our biggest interest is really things that you guys want to know about and concerned about. So please, at any time, raise your hand, holler at us, put it in the chat. Tommy, Sheree and them will be watching kind of that chat line. So if you guys got questions, let us know. Okay. So I'm gonna take off here and I'm gonna work through some things when it talks about work plans. So this is work plans far as in the maintenance world. We have been working on these for, I'm gonna say probably a good 13 years or so. We've had those in MMS now. This is the third year. We first built them in 2021, 2022. So this is the third calendar year for 2023. And what I want to do is kind of connect a few dots. So right now I'm out on our website, our public website. And if you were wanting to go and see what is the current STIP, that's kind of where I am as I'm sharing my screen here with you. Now, many of you, again, being really good in MMS, you can go to my area and pull up such things. But this is where the public's going to go, right? And this is anytime, and we just had this STIP approved, the largest STIP ever in MoDOT here the second week or so of July. You guys know all that's going on with I-70 and huge amounts of work there. But I wanted to highlight that right down here in this approved STIP, there is a section, it's called Section 9, that is in the STIP that is all about operations and maintenance plan. So if I open that up there, it's going to open up another PDF document. And I've kind of just scrolled down. I'm probably somewhere, what page? I don't know, 10 or 11 or so of the document. Yeah, 10. And I want to just give you this representation here. This is the Northwest District. Now, these maps have been built for probably the last, I'm going to say probably at least 5 years. So we were building some of these before we started building work plans in MMS. Many of you worked with Ken Warbritton and those previously doing that. And we worked off spreadsheets. What we're doing is visually representing to our public, what do we intend to do internally when it comes to maintenance and maintaining our routes? Again, you'll notice that we've got bridge work in here, sealing. A lot of those, as you look through those should jump out at you. Those are activities we plan in MMS. From deck repair, deck sealing to pipe replacement, pavement repair. You'll notice we do current year and we do the next 2 years, okay? So we also give verbiage in here, of course, that says, hey, things happen in life, right? Bad flooding, horrible winter, things change. What we do is to take care and make sure that we always do take care of the road as best we possibly can. But what I want to just share, if I was to highlight in here, if you were to look at one of these routes, right? Like this purple route, Route O here. The reason it's highlighted is somebody went in MMS, that supervisor working with a crew, with a superintendent said that's the route we're going to work on. Okay, and we did it in MMS. That's where it came from. So the extents of these lines, if you see any of these, like here's a good one. See this green one right here? You'll notice it's not the entire route. That is coming straight from MMS. So the reason I want to highlight this to you all is I want you to think about the process of work plans. When I think work plans, the very first place I go to is budget. So we have in our MMS budget, we've had this again for probably this is the third year we're going on now. It loads every year, the 1st of July, for a fiscal year budget. That's what this brass budget is. So I brought up the Southwest District, and here is the brass budget that the financial services personnel have put in. This next column is one that the maintenance engineer, system maintenance engineer, they manage and take care of. They're always trying to see that they've always got more money budgeted than they currently have because we get more money in it. A district could get $1 million, $2 million, depending upon how things go sometimes. And then that third column is where we kind of sit at. What is your work plan expenses? First thing you have to know as a superintendent or a building supervisor as you're working through a work plan, how much money do I have, right? And so this particular one right here is looking at the work plans that we have already built and that fit into this fiscal year. Now that's why when you build work plans, you always do date ranges. There really is two things I want you guys to help me with. I want us to be more accurate with our selection of location and our awareness of date ranges. And I'll show you that why here in a second. The reason I like budget, okay, is again, this level has been here for years. We've had abilities statewide, district-wide to know how much per kind of activity class. Now we break it down to superintendent, right? That's what this is. This money for asphalt pavement repair has been broken down per superintendent. Okay, every district has this same exact capability. Now, even the most powerful thing about it is now take that and break that down into a building level. So when you want to know if I'm in a Southwest district and I'm in a superintendent area, let's just bring up the central superintendent area there. You have the ability, the way this all works out, that at the building level, so again, here's the superintendent level, the maintenance engineer budget about 1.3 million for asphalt. They currently have in the work plan just shy of that, what almost 1.1 million in their work plan. And then you'll notice as you go down, now you're talking about buildings. And this is how much each building has to help build that. It just builds upon itself. And that was the intention of this, to know how much do I have, where am I at, what am I spending. This is real-time information. It's just as current as anything is charged out and put into. What we document, what's in SAM2, everything's there. Now life happens. We're not saying it doesn't, but we got to start with a plan. We got to know where we're trying to go and be aware of what's happening. Now with that, let's go back to our work plan side. So everyone has access to the work plan. So if I come into the work plan here, now only supervisors, okay, that's our security level 3. So an assistant supervisor, supervisors, superintendents, district maintenance engineer can create a work plan. Crew leaders cannot create work plans. Now we've had a few cases where we've had some maintenance engineers ask for them to have that kind of access, but for the most part, this is a supervisor thing. Now, in your district, could be heavily towards the superintendent, could be superintendent, supervisor working together, could be a lot of different combinations there, okay? So I'm gonna come in here and let's just go take a look, see if I can get, I'm gonna load the Northwest here. So when I come into this, you guys have the ability of looking at a map, and this is what has already been work planned, okay? Now I'm gonna come into, you'll notice we show our history and the future still. Here's 2023. I'm going to pick asphalt pavement repair. So what's going to populate is in the Northwest districts, okay? All of you are doing work plans. I don't think anyone's necessarily doing them, less accurate than someone else. I'm just choosing to look here, okay? I am not picking on the Northwest. I think they do a very good job, okay? So when I look at the work plans, I turned on this view document. What we have documented is up here at the top, and that's now going to start highlighting here in a second in green where you performed work. Okay, so as that populates on the map here, I want to kind of show something, and what I want you guys to be thinking about. The reason that each one of these lines is red is because you as a superintendent or a supervisor have picked that entire route. Okay, now just want you to think, please, as you start working on 2024 stuff, what part of the route do we really intend to work on? Hey, if we're going to work on the whole route, pieces of it, great, pick the route, right? But this is the same thing we're going to communicate to public. If you know full well you're only going to be on the east end of it, pick the east end, right? Think about your date ranges. We're likely going to do this in the spring. Well, make it up to June. We're probably not going to do this till August or so. Put it then, right? Don't do this March to October, right? Don't hit that kind of lazy button. That does nobody any good. Just think through it. Don't stress. Don't drive yourself nuts about it. But when we do the work, probably a good third question to ask yourself is, when do you think that's going to come out of your E&E budget? If you're not going to do that work basically before the 1st of June, it's going to be next year's fiscal budget, right? So please think through date, think through location, and think through kind of when's that money going to happen. So what happens, guys, this is what we have done this year so far. They've done about almost 63% of the material costs, doing great. And look at this. A lot of this is just spot on. Look how that route is just nailed it. Here we're up in that area. I mean, a lot of this, I would say the vast majority of these are hitting exactly where we plan to do our work. Okay. Now, sometimes it doesn't, and that's completely understood, and we all support that. Don't just stress yourself out with it, right? Life changes, but I would ask yourselves, make sure you've got a reason. I really appreciate what the Northeast does. Many of you are very much extremely good at this. If you go to the grid, it looks like a spreadsheet for work plans. If you go to progress is extremely powerful. Shows you what you planned, shows you exactly what you've done. If you planned herbicide, you planned some pipe replacement, you planned all of these things, and you can put in comments. That's where you want to start living in this world. When you go and you work on a route, like say Route H, okay? I'd say that was exactly what they needed to do there. We'll go put a comment. Why'd you work on Route H, but you haven't done anything on this route? The reason I want you to just help connect it is that, again, we use these to tell the public what we're going to do. We do tell them life happens, right? But only you know to the level that you tried to understand. Now, guys, I've had it happen to me. I've had district engineers come along, area engineers come along. I've had pipe, jobs that were canceled. We came up with a contract that we didn't know. Exactly right. All you guys can do is just do your best, okay? That's all that any of us ever asked. Be aware. I just wanted you to see the connections. We're not just haphazardly, I'm going to throw stuff in here. So appreciate that. Again, we're in that world of starting that up again, I think, very soon. Work plans for calendar year 2024. Again, we'll want those done and ready by the 1st of December. But just want to help you. Now, think about low volume for just a second. It's a huge deal. Some of the districts, Northwest, Northeast, Central District, you guys are doing a huge amount on that low volume. Just last week of the tracker measure, statewide, we've seen a 2% jump on low volumes. It's phenomenal to turn this thing around. Be thinking intentionally. The low volume process of planning is almost exactly the same that happens on the contract side. Maintenance, we end up reporting statewide to say, what is the plan and how are we doing it, right? So after you've built your plan, next spring, about the 1st of March, I'm going to be asked, how much did they plan? What are they going to do? What are they getting done? Are they making a difference? Are they honoring their commitments? Those kind of questions, and I go right back in here. You guys give me the tools to answer the questions. So think through, where are you doing your work? What's that look like? And I think the biggest challenge is date, location, think through the fiscal year. Is it meeting everybody's expectations? The district engineer, all the way down through your crew. We're doing the routes. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing. This is where we're working at and putting that work on. All right. I've kind of rambled on enough. Again, work plans, thank you for what you do. I think budget and I think work plan. We're going to roll into some new functionality, okay? Let Tommy talk about that. If you guys have any questions on work plan, hey, throw it in the chat. I'll come back here in a second and I can follow up with those. Tommy, I'll turn it over to you, man.
Okay, good morning. We added a couple search features to our My Area and our documenting work location map. I'll go ahead and share here. And really what this allows you to do is we added a couple for building name and job number. We already had search features for route and bridge design number. You can turn a layer on. You don't have to turn a layer on. over here. I'm just going to go ahead and turn on minors just to give you the visual to go with it. Maybe it'll draw. There you go. And then, so we're going to do a route, and this is how you do the search. You can do the designation, the travelway name, and put a county in. And you can see the search menu starts giving you some options here. So Route W, that's actually Route WS. Not sure why it's not picking up Buchanan. Let's just go ahead though, for time's sake. You do it. There you go. And so Route MM West in Callaway County, and you can see that it highlights that route for you, and then automatically pops up the travelway details. So that new Zoom extent, it used to just do a search and give you some details, but it didn't actually take you to the route. So this is one of the things we had some people ask us about, is to be able to do that. Building name, you can see there's a list here. I can start typing. We'll just pick the Fulton Maintenance Building. It'll automatically zoom to that, and it'll come over here and tell you about the Fulton, the building detail for this. Same thing with bridge design. Let's see, I think we got one. Same thing on the bridge design number. You put your number in, it'll zoom to that structure, and again, it'll pop up the details here for you to see that structure information. So those are pretty much available on for those four things here in the My Area. And you can have any of your layers turned on, and it'll give you that kind of detail. So we did the very same thing over here on documenting work location map. I've got the supervisor here for 7A71. I've already put in a litter pickup for his activity. We'll go ahead and get to the location map. And you can see here, there's a search box over here on the left, and it brings up that same functionality. We'll do that same bridge just for, I don't even know, it's in that area. And so this is allowing you to document. You know, you've worked on structure A1, 2, 3, 4. This will help quickly get you there. You can document your work location and move on. All you got to do is you accidentally put one in, you can hit the clear button and back out of there. So we've had several people ask for that. Hopefully you guys will find that helpful. We've shown it to a few people and they really like it. Any questions there? Okay, pretty straightforward. If you need any help, just reach out to the dedicated team and we'll be happy to show you that.
Hey, Tommy, would you mind, did you hit the ARAN function that
Oh,
we've
yeah,
got
no,
now on my air?
totally forgot about that. Sorry. All right, we'll kick this bridge number back up here. Yeah. And so what we did here was add a link at the very bottom of your details box. So any detail box you pop up here in My Area, there'll be one for the ARAN viewer called Route Video. You click on that, and this will take you to the ARAN video. This is a tool in TMS. If you're not familiar with it, it gives you a lot of pavement conditions. The goal, I think, still is, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, but they still try to run minors every other year and majors every year. And you can see up here across the top of the window the different years that they ran videos. So it is important. I mean, it's a good way to look and go, what was the condition of this bridge in 2017 compared to the 2022? Over on the right-hand side, too, there's just a whole bunch of information, lots of variables that you can change your results for. But this allows you to walk across this bridge. You can just do full play, and it'll drive for you. So a lot of things can get done with this, kind of sitting at your desk or in your building and take a look at these videos. So that was something else that we had some folks ask for. That's a pretty awesome tool. It gives you that visual out there in the field without necessarily go out there. Just always be careful. Make sure that you're paying attention to what year video you're looking at. So thank you, Michael. I totally
Hey,
agree
thank
with
you,
that.
man. So as you were connecting those dots there, he was on my area, right? So he could be my area. He could turn on like low volume. He could turn on condition. He could turn on, down there. We could go to what's the work plan for that year, right? And then hit an ARAN. So you really kind of bringing all that together, right? We plan to do the work on this route. What's the most recent visual of it? What's it look like? Trying to put all that stuff in that world there for my area. So thank you much. Appreciate that, Tommy. All right. Cherie, how about sharing a few things about some reporting items?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to touch base. I'm going to share my screen here, but just to touch base on other expenses. It's something that when we went live with MMS, we left that open that you could record other expenses as you purchase things, but it wasn't like this have to kind of thing or that we encouraged it a lot. Well, we now have more employees coming on. And one thing that we really started pushing is, especially for signal and lighting folks, that they have a lot of things and other expenses that are more of like this stock item kind of thing that they purchase. And it's not in inventory when we document. And so we aren't able to capture that information of what those cost of materials are for that particular activity, that particular location, unless we put it into other expenses. So when we look at results and we look at the total dollars spent, we're experiencing that same issue. We're not getting everything that we would like to in the very near future with changes that are going on with SAM2 and moving to movers and things like that. We're kind of being proactive with this and getting started with wanting you to start putting in other expenses. We're not asking you to nickel and dime things. It doesn't have to be stuff that are on your P card that are little dollar amounts, that kind of stuff. But when we look at different things, such as working on 312 or even 31C, any of those kinds of areas or those activities, we're not capturing all of it because some of that is purchased on other expenses. So I'm going to show you here. I've come in as Luke, Rupel, and Fulton, and we're documenting 312. And so on here, as I locate my area of the work that I'm doing, and I'm just going to choose Route H here outside of Callaway County or in Callaway County, but outside of Fulton. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and put both locations on here, and we're just going to do the whole route, even though that's probably not realistic for an entire day. But let's go ahead and I'm going to choose done and bring up my materials. Well, sometimes that information is not an inventory item. You've had aggregate brought in or mix bit, that kind of, or bit mix, sorry, that we want to make sure that we're documenting. So what I'd like to show you here is when we have those purchases or that we have those tickets that we have available to us, the supervisor or whoever the lead is on this crew then would want to put in what those other expenses are by clicking on other expenses. And what I'm going to type in here in the stock items is I'm just going to put in, hot mix. Well, you can see now that it brings in my bit mix commercial, and now I have it listed on here. From your ticket or what you've purchased, or you pretty well during the season know what that unit cost is, you would enter that unit cost in here. I have no clue of what the unit cost is. Someone want to shout out a unit cost per ton?
$73.
Great. And then how many tons would you just guesstimate that maybe we would use on a route at a time?
I'll put in 100 a day.
Okay. So I'm going to put that in here, and now I'm going to click save. As you can see now, it has brought that total in. This is a total that we would not normally have in results when we start running numbers for this 312. We can get it through Cognos, we can get it through that kind of reporting because it gets paid through SAM2. But as we move forward, we need to plan ahead and start documenting and using MMS as more of this accurate record, because in results we can see graphs, we can see locations, we can see materials, who worked on it, all of those details. And if we can find those details all through MMS, boy, win-win situation. And as you all do presentations, you all talk to your districts or your buildings or even your superintendent areas, those are things that those folks at a superintendent level can even bring up and be able to have everything right at their fingertips. Yes, it's still estimated kind of cost, but the more that we put in here, the more information we're going to get out. So any questions about other expenses? It's all going to be what we do not have in inventory. Any questions about other expenses and the direction that we're moving towards? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and click next and just finish out this record real quick. And I am going to then, I don't know, what did we say? And as you can see, this splits out that tonnage here for performance. And now I've documented my whole day. And now you can also see my materials used. So I'm done with that. I do want to show you here. I'm going to do a new org that we are going to be bringing on this next week for Central District Signal and Lighting. Yay! We have other districts that have already come on board. And so with this, I just wanted to show you real quick of some things that, you know, they can see. You know, I showed you on a maintenance level with a maintenance org what we have in that materials. But I just wanted to show you here as we record for signal and lighting folks, because we have them on this call this morning as well. That when we get to their information and documenting materials, so much of their stuff is just not in inventory. And so that leads for a lot of costs, especially when you're looking at items that could be $5,000 that are a stock kind of item that they keep available or that they go and purchase, that we're not getting that. And you add that up to, you know, 10 per year. Wow, that's a lot we're missing out on. So I want to show you here that, you know, when we look at their locations and they're choosing a signal, they can choose their signal and go to materials. And then whatever is not available in their inventory, they can type in, and we've done this for signal and lighting folks, S and L for signal and lighting. And now it brings in their non-inventory items that they have available out here. So say that we have this pedestal base, I'm going to just put that in there. Well, that's $180. We'll say that we used, you know, one for that location. I'm just going to put that in there and now it loads that. So I'm going to go back and I want to show you on this map. I'm going to delete all. And on the map here, something that we noticed is that sometimes for, we found it on some signal and lighting things as we zoom in here, that we have different items, and we found it on a flasher that they repaired a flasher in a location, but it didn't show up on the map. We also run into that same issue in the maintenance world, that items are not showing up on the map at times. When you come across that and you find that you need to document document something and it's for a particular activity and you know that something is missing. It could be that maybe, you know, I don't think that we have I haven't heard much on signs, but in a flasher, it could be that you choose a location and things do not look right, or that it's an agreement kind of thing. Anything that you see that you know is not showing up in MMS, keep in mind we get that information from TMS. TMS is one of those things that when we find locations, we find details that are not accurate, that we're not seeing in MMS, send us a note. Take a snippet. That snippet can be found right down here, this little snippet tool. And when you snip that, just hit new and you want to just snip that area, try to make sure you get the county and you know quite a bit of the map in. And then all you do is copy and then paste it into an email and email the MMS team email group. What we do is we reach out to TMS support group and we put some details. A lot of times I'll look in TMS to see, hey, what's going on here? Why isn't this showing up? And then we send it to TMS support for them to check with the districts, check to see if there's any such as agreements or anything like that that we need to look at details of maybe right away, anything like that. And they investigate that. That is how we make TMS more accurate that then feeds into MMS. Okay. So make sure that as you're documenting that you're not just willy-nilly documenting and something's not quite right. Let us know because we want to get that information accurate. You all are our eyes and ears out there in the field, and you know what it should be out there. Any questions about that? You guys are doing an awesome job, and so happy that we have another signal and lighting group coming live with us next week. So we're getting more and more documenting done in MMS, and we're able to see that information then in the results. So, okay, with that, Michael, I'll pass it back to you. Thanks.
All right. Appreciate that so much. I want to make a connection here before we hand it off to Randall. I'm just going to share with you. Here's a results page. And again, staying kind of on our same theme of how we document and what happens, bringing up all of our signal activities. So we've got 5 of our 7 signal electrician groups are working with us. Again, Central District's coming on here in the next week or so. We're working with Southwest. But I just want to show you, we did a lot of things when it came to the world of signals and their documentation. And when I go to results and I have export, that's really where you see, again, some of these things that Shree's talking about all connecting together. And for instance, we now have the ability to put comments in. These are call reports that they have selected and chosen. They've got things in here that's helping them document what they did at a signal. A lot of these we've turned on for like litter pickup and signing. They can add attachments now to it. Again, trying to build this representation of what did you do. Again, we do want to make sure anytime we ever put comments, this is just straight facts. These aren't opinions. Every bit of this can be used in a court of law. It can be picked up, but like I said, you can have attachments. Just a lot of great features there. This ability we've worked with our signal line crew, I think, has made us significantly a better system than what we were before, just because of some of their work that they do. So I appreciate we've been able to be a part of their workflow. So, Randall, I'm going to transition now to our safety incident reporting. Randall's going to get us started with some new updates have made, and it's all yours.
All right, thank you, Michael. So as we were looking at some of the incident data, there were a lot of people that were putting down spotter available but not used, or they were selecting NA. And as we were evaluating it, the district safety and health managers were like, I don't know, something about that doesn't seem right. I don't think we had that many. So in order to clean that up a little bit, we actually changed the verbiage on the spotter used question. So I created an incident for me here in UAT. And now whenever the spotter used question, if it's yes, it's just yes. But if you click no, a spotter's not used, we've got another question here to kind of clarify what that means. So was a spotter available at the time of the incident? Yes or no? So hopefully that's going to clean up a little bit of that confusion that was there for the NA response that you could have. So we're going to say no, a spotter was not available. The other thing that I just want to be sure and remind you of, we're getting a lot of incidents that TMA hits that don't have either a vehicle associated with it or don't have the TMA itself associated with it. So because I did this for me, it looks a little funny, but we'll kind of go through it here. When you answer, was a TMA or PV involved? The answer is yes. You fill out all these questions, and we'll say it's a trailer mounted. You actually should have two pieces of equipment down here. So you should have the fleet vehicle that's pulling it. So in this case, I chose a car because that's all I have available to me. But after you include that piece of equipment, then you need to add another one and include the non-fleet equipment TMA trailer as well. So once again, I selected just a trailer number and it ended up with a 35 ton. But the point is, make sure when you're selecting what equipment was involved in that TMA hit, you're selecting both the vehicle that was pulling it and the actual TMA itself. So we get those numbers and we know how much equipment's been damaged, what's been involved in the accident. What brought this to us was we were looking to see how many units had the Haas alert system installed and activated when it happened. And because we didn't have the truck number, we couldn't tell if it had Haas in it or not. So that's the process that you need to go through. Michael, anything
So
I left
Randall,
off that you want to talk about?
yeah, if you don't mind, why don't you hit like your non-fleet there and hit update and maybe delete that one and put one back in just so kind of what they see. Again, we've done really good getting our fleet units in here, but missing this truck or the trailer that's associated to it. And again, we've talked about maybe it's something that our workflow isn't quite right. But it's just you're getting those dump trucks, you're getting that initial vehicle, but you need to, like this example, he's got a car, right? But we need to add, and then you'll come down here again. Now he's going to go through a process. So you might click non-fleet. Now notice you've always got to kind of pick your class. These are usually going to be under that trailer TMA, I think it's called, or yeah. Drop down.
Well, since I
but
don't
you
have
can,
any of that in my org, Michael,
yeah.
so I just have to search
Okay.
for it.
And then you can go to that equipment search and look at it. Majority of TMAs will start with the letter A as an apple, and it'll be A4 or a number like your district. So it could be an A4 for Kansas City, and then another letter A, and then it's going to be that attenuator number, that fixed asset number that you see on your fleet unit. So again, thank you, Randall. I appreciate you demonstrating that for us. We'll keep working on that. All right. Let's go to Mr. Evan Adrian. Evan, how's the world of safety? Share with us the little things you feel like we got coming up.
Thank you, Michael. Can I get control of the screen? I don't know who has it.
It should be open.
Okay, I got it now. All right, can you all see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I wanted to go through a few things here, actually. We'll talk about the new safety scores and all the things behind that. But first, some questions that have been coming up that I'd like to walk through with everybody is, after an employee submits an incident, how do they get back into that incident? So there's two ways. So the first way, probably the easiest way, is once you submit an incident, an email is going to go out to the supervisor and all that. That's going to have a link that goes directly back to the incident. So that's probably the easiest way. If you aren't able to access that email and need to go through it through MMS, it's pretty simple, and it's going to depend on your view of how much you're going to see. So For me, it's a little more different because I'm going to see every incident statewide. So when I go to our views, you all won't see as much as some of the safety folks or leadership in the districts. But for just a maintenance worker or somebody in an org, right now I'm impersonating a core drill operator here in central office. Pretty timely because he had an incident and was unable to do fill it out over his phone. He was having some difficulty, so I helped him fill it out. But he's going to have to go back and make a change to his statement. So no one can make any statement, an employee statement, except for the employee. So that employee needs to be logged in to the computer. Then they open up MMS and it's going to be under their login. So supervisor, you're not going to be able to fill out the employee statement for the employee, even on up through Michael Middleton. He's not going to be able to fill that out for the employee. Only the employee is going to be able to do that. So with Gary, I filled everything out except for his employee statement, and he's going to have to come back in and find his incident and then fill out the rest of it. So to do this, we go to our report an incident page, and what you're going to see is these three buttons. So this is how we create the incident. This is going to show us the map view of all the incidents throughout the state. And then this incident grid is going to show us all the incidents attributed to that person that's signed in. So with Ken or with Gary, we're going to have just his one incident. But if this was for Ken, his supervisor, Ken signed in, it would show any incidents for that 6 in 45, I believe, is their org. So they'll see all their org. So if Gary wanted to get in here and change his employee statement, he's just going to select this incident and go to the update, and it's going to bring us that incident back into the view where we can make changes. So for Gary, an employee here, everything he put in the first time, he's not going to be able to change, with the exception of the employee statement. That's what's going to be, he's going to be able to change. So what will happen is this will pop up and it'll show us the actual boxes that he's able to type into. Since this is, I'm just imitating Gary's login and it's showing me his information. I still am not logged in as Gary, so I'm not able to fill those boxes in. And additionally, each box, if there's going to be a change to it, there's going to be a history to it. So once Gary comes in and fills in the rest of his incident, there's going to be a history here. And if he comes back and makes some changes to his comments, those changes will be captured too. So we know everything has been input into the system. I think that's all I wanted to talk about. That is there any questions about how to find your old incident and make updates, or any questions about employee statements or changes? All right, very good. We will go and talk about the new safety scores. So to find your safety score, again, it's on the dashboard. So we will pull these dashboards up. This is in UAT, so it's showing what the new scores are going to become the end of next week. I think it's going to be Friday is the day that the changes are going to happen. So this is production MMS, and this is our safety scores as of today. So what we're looking at is 20% of those 20 points, basically. So you have 100% total. 20% of your points, or 20 points, is going to be those recordable rates, and that's just going to be looking at preventable. So when the safety manager does their investigation, they're looking to see if MoDOT had a majority of the contributing factors of what caused that incident. Same with a vehicle rate and the incident rate. It's looking at those preventable vehicle incident rates, and that's 20%. And So that's almost half of your safety scores, these lagging indicators of recordables and vehicle incident rates. Next 35% of our score is that training completed. So what we're looking at here is the safety training that the safety managers came together and looked at our job titles and said, hey, these are the safety trainings that our employees need to do their job safely. And we added those as part of the safety score calculation. Next, we're looking at our ABL data. This is just looking at the driver behavior with the ABL GPS, looking at seatbelt usage, speeding, harsh cornering, backing when leaving, all those things combined factor in to give each org a ABL driving behavior score based on the amount of miles driven and ABL data. And then lastly, we have that 10% for our employee participation programs, i.e. the observations, the near misses and good catches. So that's where we were when we started. We all met, and we from the beginning, we knew this was going to be a living sort of document that we're going to have to make changes to. And this is where we started. And we met with the MMS team and leadership and the safety and health team. And we all talked about these safety scores and some changes. And these are the changes that are coming. This is in UAT, and this is what it's going to look like in the future. So our conversations were, well, let's put more focus on our leading indicators rather than putting that 40% of our focus on those lagging indicators. These are things that already happened, that it was a unfavorable incident. It may not be completely 100% the fault of the department, but a lot of these things, there are things that we can do, even though it may not have been 100% us, the causation of the incident happening. So with those lagging indicators, we're taking off the caveat that those needed to be completely preventable incidents. So every recordable and every vehicle incident is going to count towards your safety score. But we're only going to be getting total 10 points for those recordable rates and incident rates. Now, if you do have an incident, a vehicle incident where it's a complete act of God, a tree falls when you're driving, those things, we are going to have a process that you can segment those up through the safety director up to Becky, and they're going to make that determination whether or not those incidents are counted. So if you have an incident like that you do not think should be counted towards your safety score, you can submit those up through the safety director and they'll make that determination. A new piece to this is our accountability. So this is the safety discipline. Any safety discipline that's a written warning and up, for the past 12 months, each one of those discipline actions, if you have one, is going to remove 5 points from your safety score. So if you have 3 incidents in the last 12 months in your org, it's going to remove 15 points from your score. And these are those safety disciplines, again, that are written warning and up. And that's for the past 12 months. So if you have one 13 months ago, it's going to drop off and you'll get those points back. And to come back around to those lagging indicators, the recordables and the vehicle incidents, those are going to be going at a rolling 36 months. So it's going to look at a lot further time, that 3-year period, and it's going to drop those ones off from the last 3 months. That's the reason we wanted to do that, in case there are a lot of incidents in one time. We spread that time out, and it's going to kind of level off some of those incidents. The other thing we're adding to it is our employee focus areas that we report on, and these are the most common types of incidents at MoDOT. So with the the injury type things, we're going to be looking at slip, trips, and falls, and sprains and strains. So there is a possibility that you could get double dinged for these, but they're going to be a lot lower of a weight compared to before. So this just going to bring a lot more focus to those areas, and hopefully drive that behavior down so that we get fewer backing incidents, fewer slip, trips, and falls, and fewer sprains and strains. The backing incidents, the slip, trips, and falls, those focus areas, they're looking at a 12-month period as well. So that'll be the past 12 months rolling, and it's going to drop off any of those incidents from before. The AVL data, it remained consistent. That, well, I think right now we're at 25%, I believe, for AVL driving data. So we dropped that AVL data just a little bit to 20%. Then lastly, the biggest, most significant change is the 35% of required training, and that is going to be statewide, every employee. What we're doing is looking at HR's required training for that job title, and all the training, regardless if it's safety training or soft skills or equal opportunity training, all of that is going to be part of the safety score. So to look at that data, you come down here, and here's the required training. You can click this information button, and it's going to tell you more information about the specific job titles you have in your org. Additionally, there's going to be training data here that you can pull, and it's going to pull the training data for everybody in your org, show when everyone took the required trainings, who's missing what trainings, and you'll be able to look at that data and then schedule them to get the missing training that they get to bring those points up to what you want them to be. Then lastly, like we did before, there's going to be 10 bonus points. So it's possible to get up to 110 points with a perfect safety score. And those bonus points, that's to allow some of these smaller, these lagging indicators that are in the past, we can't do anything to improve your score. Well, you can improve your score by doing those leading indicators, which are near misses and observations and good catches. I think that kind of covers where the direction we're moving with these safety scores. And I might have gone on a little too long, but I'll open it up for any questions anyone has. And then if I don't have any questions, I'll kick it back over to Mr. Middleton to finish out this meeting.
Evan, there's a message in the chat.
Okay. Let me pull up that.
It looks like Gary is asking, is the mileage for AVO actually going to come from the key fob or whatever unit fleet is assigned to? So appreciate you asking the question, Gary. Right now, when we look at mileage, it's all about what units are assigned to your org in faster. So when you borrow someone else's fleet unit, or you're using, a lot of our districts have a pool of cars, and that's all assigned to, GS or something. That's where those driving behaviors are going currently. We are working on tying it to key fobs so that it could be back to you as an employee assigned to an org, which would be more accurate. But we're still a little ways from getting there, but it's probably intentional. We want all of this to work itself, go through the process, but we have already started that issue ticket to work in that direction. But it's going to be a few months before we get there. That's all about Mike Middleton. Doesn't matter what fleet unit I drive, car, pickup, dump truck, doesn't matter who's it assigned to, my driving behaviors comes back to my org. But right now it is fleet assigned to your org that is your score.
Yeah, the reason I was asking that, Michael, is because here we have no vehicle assigned to our leadership org, but yet we have a fleet vehicle incident when the the incident is being recorded is on our org, but we don't have any fleet mileage to make up for it, so we're constantly showing a 0.
That's exactly right. Yep, I'd encourage you guys, get your fleet assigned to your deal, but it's not we're gonna get there, and it's gonna be better, but it's gonna be a few months before we make sure that happens. We just want to make sure it all works well with the key fob and how we're interacting first before we make the change. All right. Hey, Evan, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I would encourage you guys, I know we've just kind of rambled on for 55 minutes, so that's just a lot that we're wanting to share. If anyone does have a question, please, I want to give an opportunity for that. Anyone have something that they are curious about or needing to kind of circle back around, you put it there in the chat, or just raise your hand or shout out.
Hey, Michael, this is Cherie. I just want to also, I know we have several people or several orgs that are working some evenings, and sometimes you may have a problem with documenting before you leave, and none of the MMS team are awake yet. When that happens, I encourage you to use your snippet tool, take a snippet of what you're seeing, send us an email to the MMS team email group, or you can send it to the MMS team chat in Teams, and we will see that whenever we get in, when we log in or get into the office, and then we can reply back. We can take a look at your record. We can, if you have details of something that's not working out, as I had that with some striping last week. Hey, I can, if I know the details, I can get that record fixed and up to where we need it, and then allows you that whenever you get back in, you can check it, see if it's correct, and then get it submitted. So at any time, I know that we don't answer 24/7, but we are available for you to send messages to, so we can check it out when we do log in. So don't hesitate, please.
Appreciate that reminder there, Sheree. So we have tried, I think probably for the last year, that we use a soft phone, the 4 on the team, and also Don Miller there from Northeast. So there's 5 of us that are pretty much daily logged into that soft phone on our computers. That way, anytime we're in meetings, just like now, if someone was to call, one of us could jump off and grab that. But I do appreciate Sheree saying if you'll hit that, either the team's note or an email to our MMS team, that makes sure that one of us is going to get with you there. And you know what? And one of my most favorite things is when I call one of you back and you say, Michael, I've already talked to Sheree. It's taken care of. I'm like, check. Good deal. So, all right. I'm going to post this video in the chat box there. That was also in your agenda. This is the new leave module. I want to just kind of show you basically a little functionality of this. Encourage you all, go take a look at this. This is in our UAT environment. We just loaded it yesterday. We spent the last 2.5 weeks testing it. It is the first thing we've done on the concept of ladder license leave. This has been in our interest for the last couple of years. It's all about the employee. What is their career ladder? What is their license and training? What is their leave time? It is about them, not tell us data so we can make decisions, right? It's about them and where they are and how they develop and what's going on in their world. We have completed our development of the leave portion. So I've come in here impersonating a senior maintenance employee. You'll notice the button. Actually, we built this intentionally that it will change to kind of this alert look instead of kind of a normal yellow one when an employee needs to see something. Again, this is right now about the leave world. When you come in here, what you'll find is you're going to see a leave alert. Again, if there's no alerts, this will be yellow or straight to a leave calendar. There's an access to the HR policy, and there's messages. If I was to click this messages, you could see anything from a low balance message to you have your balances at the end of October are going to be too high. You could see some other things there that might deal with a leave request you had. So we're building again real-time notifications in MMS. We know that email is not the most efficient for everybody. So we've built it kind of in here to let you know, hey, something's going on. I need to look at that. But again, right now it's just leave. So when I go in here, if I was to click the leave, I would see this employee's leave balances. I'm not going to do that, but you can go see yours. No need to ask a supervisor, how much leave do I have? You'll notice we will always talk the previous pay period. So we're being very conservative. What was it as the previous pay period? You can see your leave balances, all of that. You can also request vacation or sick leave, maybe it's planned surgery. And you'll see that it's going to build a calendar. You can come in here. Again, the video I put goes in this more detail. But go in here and practice with this. We'd really like for you guys to hit this really hard next couple of days. Make sure that we don't have some kind of a bug we haven't noticed. Let me show you what it looks like at the supervisor level. So I'll come in here. I'm gonna come in the supervisor at Ozark. I loaded several requests yesterday. The requests go to whoever the supervisor is, but also copies our crew leaders so that there's awareness of what's going on. Our supervisor, if they went to leave balances, they'd see the whole crew. And when you look at the calendar, we loaded this intentionally to load the month view. You can do a work week or a day. And then you'll notice I put this in here. So we have a lot of different functionalities on the page itself. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit more here. You'll notice that we can, this one here, actually I did yesterday, this was just a partial day. You can ask off for a partial day. You can ask off for several days. You've got approved. You got ones that are still sitting to be approved. You have things that are denied. So very seldom does that ever happen, but I just wanted to show you different functionalities. Our supplemental help in the winter are going to be able to come in here and they can do the same thing. So maybe they've been promised a week off for guaranteed leave. So this is not snow guaranteed leave. This isn't what you do. The districts run that process, but once I've been told, hey, yes, you can have off deer season. Yes, you can have off the week of Christmas. Then I could come in here, enter this, goes to supervisors. They can approve it. They get one map. What was the purpose? Basically, this is trying to take that same desk calendar or it's up on the wall where people are writing, I want off next week or next Thursday I have this. It's basically taking that paper form and putting it in electronic. It goes when it's approved, it goes to assigning work, and it goes to your documenting. So it really takes care of all of it. I ask off for next week. It's approved. My documentation's done. It's taken care of, and we're off to the races and gonna go enjoy time with whatever we want to do. Do appreciate again you guys joining us today. I thank you for you guys being with us. Randall put the link to our UAT out there. So again, you guys want to go look at that, take a look at it and see what that looks like out there on those test environment there for that leave request. We have not turned the email notifications on to the supervisors yet for these leave requests. We'll probably try and do that today or tomorrow. That way you guys will start getting those emails and see how that all works. So give us a call. Hey, thank you, team, for helping us out today. Appreciate you all. Be careful. Take care of each other. Be safe. Let's all make it home safely today. See ya.